Right now, in backyards and forgotten forests across America, there is a fruit hanging from the trees. It's bigger than your fist. It tastes like someone crossed a banana with a mango and a scoop of vanilla custard. It fed Native American tribes for thousands of years. George Washington ate it for dessert. Lewis and Clark survived on it, crossing the continent, and you have almost certainly never tasted it. Not because it doesn't grow here. It grows here better than almost anything. Not because it's hard to find. It might be growing within 5 miles of where you're sitting right now. The reason you've never tasted it is because it can't be shipped. It can't be mass-produced. It can't be put on a shelf for 3 weeks under fluorescent lights. And so the entire modern food industry simply pretended it doesn't exist. This fruit is called the pawpaw. And once you plant one, just one, it will feed your family for the next 30 years without you ever doing a single thing to it again. The pawpaw, a scientific name Asimina triloba, is the largest edible fruit native to North America. And for most of American history, it was everywhere. Indigenous peoples across the eastern United States had been cultivating and eating pawpaws for thousands of years before European settlers arrived. The Shawnee, the Cherokee, the Iroquois, they didn't just eat the fruit. They dried the flesh into cakes they could carry on long journeys. They used the bark to weave ropes and baskets. They planted pawpaws near the villages the way we plant apple trees today. When Meriwether Lewis and William Clark ran low on food during their 1806 expedition, they wrote in their journals that the men survived for days on nothing but wild pawpaws they found along the riverbanks. Lewis called them common pawpaws, not because they were ordinary, but because they were so familiar, so abundant, so deeply woven into American life that he assumed everyone already knew about them. And they did. For a while, Thomas Jefferson grew pawpaws at Monticello. He sent seeds to friends in France, telling them it was one of the finest fruits in all of America. George Washington had them at Mount Vernon. He listed chilled pawpaws among his favorite desserts. So what happened? In a word, refrigeration. When the modern food distribution system was built in the early 20th century, it was built around one principle: food that could travel. Apples stay firm for weeks. Oranges have thick skins. Bananas can be picked green and ripened in transit. The pawpaw was disqualified on day one. A ripe pawpaw stays good for maybe 3 days after it's picked. The skin bruises just from handling it. There is no way to ship it across the country, no way to stack it in a warehouse, no way to spray it with preservatives and put it under a heat lamp. And so the industrial food system, which needed crops it could control, transport, and profit from, simply moved on. By the mid-20th century, the pawpaw had been almost completely erased from American culture. The orchards went untended. The trees grew wild in the forests. The knowledge of how to grow them passed out of common memory. But the trees themselves, they never stopped growing. Let me tell you exactly what a pawpaw tree is, because once you understand it, you'll wonder why every backyard in America doesn't have one. The pawpaw is a small, deciduous tree. It rarely grows taller than 25 feet, which makes it perfect for residential yards. It has large, tropical-looking leaves, sometimes 12 inches long, that droop slightly at the tips and give the tree an almost exotic appearance. The fruit grows in clusters of 2 to 9, like a hand of green bananas. Each individual fruit can weigh anywhere from half a pound to over a pound. They ripen from late August through October, depending on your location, turning from green to a soft yellowish green when ready. Cut one open and the inside is a deep, creamy yellow. The texture is closer to a ripe avocado or a very soft mango than anything else you've eaten. The flavor, and this is where people stop believing you, genuinely tastes like a combination of banana, vanilla, mango, and pineapple. Not artificially, naturally, right off the tree. From a nutrition standpoint, the Pawpaw outperforms almost every common fruit on the market. Pawpaws contain more protein than apples, grapes, or peaches, nearly 3 grams per 100 grams of fruit. They're rich in magnesium, iron, zinc, copper, and manganese. They carry more niacin and riboflavin than most grocery store fruits, and they contain a class of compounds called acetogenins, natural compounds that researchers at Purdue University have been studying for their potential health properties for over 2 decades. You are not going to find this fruit at Walmart. You are not going to find it at Whole Foods. You might, if you're lucky, find a local grower selling them at a farmer's market for $15 to $20 a pound. Or you could grow them yourself. Here is what makes the Pawpaw genuinely unlike anything else you can plant in your yard. It requires almost nothing from you. Let's walk through it. The Pawpaw is native to 26 states, from Nebraska east to the Atlantic coast, from the Gulf of Mexico north into Canada. It thrives in USDA hardiness zones 5 through 9. If you live anywhere in that range, a Pawpaw will grow for you. It naturally grows in the understory of forests, which means it can handle partial shade better than nearly any other fruit tree. It doesn't need full sun all day. It doesn't need a perfectly manicured lawn. It will grow in conditions that would kill an apple tree. Pawpaws prefer deep, fertile, well-drained soil with a slightly acidic pH, between 5.5 and 7. But here's the thing, they've been growing wild in American forests for millions of years without anyone amending the soil for them. If your yard supports any other tree, it will support a Pawpaw. Now, the one thing you must know, you need at least 2 trees. Pawpaws are not self-pollinating. They need a different genetic variety nearby to produce fruit. Plant 2 trees from different nursery sources, keep them within about 30 feet of each other, and you'll get fruit. Pollination is actually the only tricky part of growing pawpaws. The flowers produce a smell that attracts flies and beetles rather than bees. Some growers hang a small piece of raw meat near the flowers during bloom to attract more pollinators. Others hand pollinate using a small paintbrush, transferring pollen from one tree's flowers to the other. It sounds complicated. In practice, it takes about 10 minutes in the spring. Now let's talk timeline. If you plant a grafted pawpaw tree, of which I recommend, you can expect your first small harvest in 3 to 5 years. A tree grown from seed takes longer, typically 5 to 8 years before it fruits. By year 10, a healthy pawpaw tree produces 25 to 50 pounds of fruit per season. By year 20, that can exceed 100 pounds per tree, and that tree will keep producing for 30 to 40 years. Think about what that means. Plant 2 pawpaw trees in your backyard this spring. By the time your kids are in high school, those trees will be dropping 50 to 100 pounds of fresh fruit every fall. Completely for free, with no spraying, no pruning, no annual replanting. Pawpaws have no significant commercial pest problems in North America. Deer avoid them. Insects mostly leave them alone. The trees have been surviving without human help for longer than European settlers have been on this continent. One more thing before we move on: where to get them. Do not try to transplant a wild pawpaw. The taproot is extremely sensitive, and wild trees almost never survive transplanting. Instead, order grafted trees from a specialty nursery. Look for named varieties like Shenandoah, Susquehanna, or Sunflower. These have been selected for larger fruit size and better flavor. Expect to pay $30 to $60 per tree. It will be the most valuable $60 you ever spend on your yard. Now, if you want to go beyond feeding your own family, let's talk about what pawpaws are worth on the open market. Because of their short shelf life, pawpaws cannot be sold by large distributors. That means the only people selling them are small, local growers. And that scarcity drives the price. At farmers markets across the country, fresh pawpaws sell for $10 to $20 per pound. In cities with a strong local food culture, places like Nashville, Columbus, Washington, D.C., growers report selling out completely within hours of opening their stall. Processed pawpaw products command even higher prices. Pawpaw jam, pawpaw butter, frozen pawpaw pulp, pawpaw ice cream mix, pawpaw beer. There is a small but rapidly growing artisan market for all of these products, and virtually no competition because almost nobody is growing the fruit commercially. A single mature pawpaw tree producing 75 pounds of fruit per season, sold at $12 per pound, generates $900 from one tree. An orchard of 50 mature trees, which fits comfortably on less than an acre, could theoretically generate $40,000 to $50,000 per year in direct-to-consumer sales. The Ohio Pawpaw Festival, held every September in Albany, Ohio, draws over 10,000 visitors a year. There are waiting lists for vendors. The demand for pawpaws is real, growing, and almost completely unmet by local supply. The pawpaw didn't disappear because it failed. It disappeared because the system that replaced family farms and local food had no room for something that couldn't be industrialized. But that system is starting to crack. More people every year are looking for food they can grow themselves. Food that doesn't come wrapped in plastic from 3,000 miles away. Food their great-grandparents would have recognized. The pawpaw was here before the supermarket. It will be here long after. And if you plant one this year, just one, just two, you will be doing something that matters. You will be recovering a piece of American food heritage that almost got lost completely. You will be feeding your family something extraordinary for free for the next 3 decades. If you want to find a local pawpaw nursery, or if you want to attend a pawpaw festival near you, I'll leave links in the description below. And if you already grow pawpaws, or if you've tasted one before, drop a comment and tell me about it. I genuinely want to know. If this video surprised you, if you'd genuinely never heard of the pawpaw before, then there's a lot more where that came from. This channel is about the crops, the techniques, and the farming knowledge that got buried under a century of industrial agriculture. Every week, we dig something back up. Subscribe if that sounds like something you want, and I'll see you in the next one.